Welcome back, Blade Gang. This old sword with you again. And we have a new offering from the Rike Knife Company. I've done a number of Rike knife reviews. I think there's 10 of them or so out there now, last I looked. And I have to say that Rike, along with MaxAce, really are at the top of the game of doing rather unusual designs that you seldom see anywhere else, drawing from some exotic custom art knives, you might say. Well, this is one of them, and this is a Rike knife of the Thor series. Let's see if I can get the label here for you. It is an integral titanium knife with blue G10. So without further ado, let's take a look at it and maybe survey quickly out on Blade HQ some of the other offerings with the same name. So it's an interesting display box with a microfiber cloth and a little tag there. And look what we have. The Rike Thor 7. Look at that beauty. We have kind of like a insect alien scales milled in. I noticed that the G10 handle is not integral, but the titanium is. It's kind of a bolster of titanium, whereas on the G10 you can see a seam down the middle. There's a titanium clip. And look at the crazy detail on the spine of that blade. You see this pretty much across the Thor series. Let me give you a quick look-see of a few of the other designs. And we're talking in the higher end of the others, not this one. We're talking 6 1/4 for the Thor 6. There's another version of the Thor 6. Got the Thor 5. And you can check these out on Blade HQ. I think they've got a pretty good assortment of them. And there's one of the plainer ones, the Thor 4S. But yeah, these puppies can get right up there to about $600 MSRP. This, however, from White Mountain, this latest in the series of the Thor knives, is coming in at around 170, 175. Of course, you can get your 10% off with my discount code, Old Sword. Let's take another look at this and then we'll get some measurements. It's a very light knife and we're going to weigh it up in a moment. Look at the CNC detail here. Almost looks molded. It is a 154 cm steel. An interesting drop point, rounded. Again, very organic, almost animal-like, futuristic. Over on this side, I've got a few smears here, apologies. Don't know if I got a cloth handy. Do have the one from the from the pouch. Look at the handle detail. Again, very organic, insect-like, from very much like from the movie Alien, right? Have an embedded liner lock that is titanium with a steel insert. runs on bearings. Look at that whole handle, looks almost like a grasshopper or something. Variegated blue and black G10. These come in a black and red G10 and maybe one other color. I think White Mountain had 3 or 4 different versions of this out there. Here's an interesting thing. You can use this for a middle finger flick. It's a flipper, and they tend to use the rounded flipper tab with jimping. There are some folks that don't like that. I certainly don't mind at all. I don't need to have a straight thing sticking out there. And very easy opening. Got your Rike Knives insignia there on the pivot. I mean, this still can be a very usable EDC knife. Let's take some measurements before I chatter on much longer. Back out just a bit. Overall, it is 8 1/4 inches with a blade length up to that pointy bolster of 3 1/2 really. Cutting edge is longer. It's going to be 3, what did I say, 3 1/2, like coming up on like close to 3 5/8, a little over 3 1/2 for the cutting edge. Handle thickness, only 1/2 inch. With the detail on there, kind of struck me, well, it's a little bit more at the bolster, right? 0.56 at the bolster, and depends upon where you grab it here. We're going to call it about a 0.55 average across. And this will be interesting, taking a blade thickness. Well, let's do this. What if we close it up? No. Because there is so much milling done on this, I think this is going to be the thickest part of the blade that we could call the blade stock, 3 1/2 millimeters. So slightly on the thin side. We have a high flat grind. Of course, it can't go up into that detail work there, whatever you'd like to call that, skeletonizing. Speaking of skeletonizing, there isn't any because it's mostly a G10 knife. And again, verifying, I am seeing a seam on the inside. Let's take a closer look here. So you can see where there's 2 halves joined together on the G10. However, they are correct in that it is a integral titanium at the bolster. So that bolster is all one piece, and the pivot is inserted somehow. Probably just straight through there. I haven't disassembled it at all. Let's take a look at the weight. See what we got. Wow, it is light. Under 3 ounces. 2.920. Crazy. For a knife that's over 8 inches. Very, very light. So, you know, you can call this an art knife, for sure. You could EDC it. This sort of acts as jimping, pushing hard forward. It's a little painful on the thumb. We'll take a final look at it before we wrap up, but let's look at some of the other interesting Rike knives that I've done in the past. Here's the M2. much larger knife, 4-inch blade, thereabouts. That's all titanium with a S35 VN blade. Here's the M3, which is half titanium, half G10, polished, highly polished 154 cm on this one with a wave opening feature. And I've done a review on this and the M2 if you wanted to take a look at those. We'll do a quick comparison against some standard blades. When I say standards, the ones that I usually use. Here's a Griptilian. So it's right in there with the Griptilian for size. Here's a Rat 1. Rat 1, good deal longer. The ergos on this, it's so light. It really is feather light. Rike has just done some crazy designs. Check out my review on the Karambit with a very similar handle feature in detail. You can hold this knife in a couple different ways. Not really comfortable to wrap the thumb over the top. The clip is a very nice milled titanium clip. Getting near deep carry, but not exactly. We don't have any provision for a lanyard. Oh, spoke too soon. Well, that's interesting. So we've got a, yeah, I don't know. I think you can switch the clip to the left side. It certainly looks as though you can, and I think the hole accommodates a pin, I'm going to guess, in the clip that stabilizes it, because that clip is milled in there. I can't say 100%. Let me take a, I don't have any specs available. It's so new that I do have specs out on White Mountain. Bear with me. Well, okay, I could not, I took a moment and stopped the video and see if I could determine what's up with that hole. We're going to call it a lanyard hole for the time being. I don't see where it's listed as a switchable clip. Oh, I see. So we do have a, it's out of focus, isn't it? Sorry, folks. You know, that's a screw hole. So I'm kind of learning as I go here, as I have not disassembled it. It certainly looks as though the clip can be switched using that hole and the screw on the very end. Focus. Okay, so I'm looking around the other side of the camera and I can't tell what's in focus or not if I'm not looking at the screen, so apologies. We're going to call it a switchable clip. If you find out, put it in the notes, give me a comment, and let me know what you think of the Rike Thor 7, latest iteration of that series. Very unusual, organic, insect-like, outer space kind of knife that Rike likes to do. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll catch you soon. This is one of a batch of blades that came in, so we'll be getting some new stuff out. Look for it. Take care. This Old Sword, signing out.